the blind thing with me has been an ongoing kind of a constant learning curve, because initially I was just considered legally blind, probably 2060 or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, but it just slowly over a period of 20 years kind of degraded down to now I'm pretty much totally blind with just a little light perception. But I've tried to make light of it and try and smile about it and get on with life. And it kind of reminds me that even being disabled, you know, you can still work. I still work. I'm past retirement age and I'm still working. So having a disability is not a reason to stay at home and hide. I had a lot of people tell me when I lost my sight, wow, now you can collect Social Security and sit at home. I said, I don't think so. That's not me. So making light of it, there was these people sitting on an airport runway in a big 727 jet, and the passengers were all loaded onto the plane, and they were waiting for the pilot and co-pilot to show up, and eventually they see a couple of guys in uniform coming across the tarmac. One of them's got one of these mobility canes like I carry around with me, and the other one's got a seeing eye dog. And I realize as they get on the plane that this is the pilot and the co-pilot. They're all sitting there with rather bated breath. This airport happens to be in the mountains. And so at the end of the 1.25 mile runway, there's a cliff that drops off about 2,000 feet. So the passengers are all sitting there kind of quietly waiting while the engines start up and warm up, and eventually the plane starts taxiing down the runway and starts picking up speed like crazy, and it's getting within just 100 yards of the end of the runway where they're going to crash down into this big ravine. And all the passengers start screaming at the top of their lungs, and the plane takes off a nice smooth takeoff. The co-pilot takes his headgear off and he kind of glances over at the pilot and he says, you know, Chief, one of these days those people aren't going to scream and we're going to end up at the bottom of that ravine. Joke, folks, you know, sorry. All right, never mind. I'm sorry. What's the tune?
Come spring.
Come spring, okay. I stood in the lonely room of Mother Holden Gray, her voice so weak she could hardly speak. I brushed a tear away. She was watching a little snowflake falling on her window pane. She breathed a sigh and then replied, I'll be gone to be with Jesus come spring. When the roses have bloomed in my garden and a warm wind blows across a field of green, before the fields turn green, before the robin sings, I'll be gone to be with Jesus come spring. There's a big gate standing open, a tender voice calls me home. Soon I'll be in God's country, in a garden of my own. With my troubles all behind me, and my body free from pain. When the sun melts as snow and the warm wind blows, I'll be gone to be with Jesus come spring. Now the roses have grown in her garden, and the warm wind blows across the field of green. She's gone where angels sing. Our loss is heaven's gain. She'll be gone to be with Jesus come spring. Yes, we'll all meet when God gathers flowers come spring. Thank you. That's okay. Thank you. That's one that Steve and I have done several times in the past. When we lose somebody from our church, somebody passes away or whatever, it's a kind of a nice reminiscence of someone's life. And we've notoriously done that for people losing loved ones from our congregation. I'm having some issues here. Anyway, as if you couldn't tell.